What is going on YouTube? Hannah back making another brand new Crypto TV episode. In today's video specifically, we're going to be looking at XRP. We're also going to be looking at Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and if we have time, the S&P 500. Specifically in today's episode, I really do want to focus on XRP's movement. We noticed the past probably couple of hours, or I've noticed the past couple of hours, it seems like we may have broken above a resistance that has pretty much been on the coin for a very long time. If we actually manage to close this candle above that resistance, then there's a very good chance we may actually head up to our, moving averages on our weekly scale, which will be absolutely incredible for XRP, and that will mean huge profits for us if we get in at the right time. Otherwise, if you guys are new to the channel, definitely make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, smash that like button as it does help support the channel. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at CryptoVOfficial. This way, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can DM me over there. Otherwise, let's jump right into today's episode. Alright guys, so yesterday I made a video basically discussing why Ripple XRP, why I'm buying in, to XRP. There's a good chance I was planning on shorting the market. There was a small dip that we were starting to see within cryptocurrency, but it seems like my stop loss actually filled and got me out when we started to head up a little too high, and now it seems like I've reversed my pattern, and I'm actually debating on whether or not to be buying in right now in anticipation for this correction to the upside. So yesterday we were pretty much just looking in, on the small short-term game of what could be us retesting this resistance right here. As you guys remember, yesterday I discussed this channel right here, the sideways channel, our price ceiling, price floor. You can see when we hit this resistance, we discussed obviously if we hit it and correct downwards, that's when we buy in. As we reverse downwards, it seems like we closed the candle above that ever so slightly, and we're actually starting to break above that, which is pretty incredible if you ask me. It also looks like we're breaking out of this symmetrical triangle that has been on XRP for a very long time. So with this information comes some very interesting things. Now, notice that this is XRP to Tether on Bityard's chart, and we are getting ready, obviously, to buy long or to sell short, depending on which way this movement wants to look. Now, before we decide which way to buy into Bityard, I do want to look at all the other cryptocurrencies, how XRP is trading against the dollar, and then we'll make our decision as to whether or not we'd be buying long or shorting Bityard. So what becomes interesting is now when we look at XRP, you can see there is a ton, and I mean a ton of uncertainty right here. When you look at XRP to US dollar, you'll notice the resistance, the uptrend right now, they all intertwine, and then the price ceiling and price floor that cuts through. We've broken through both of those, which is incredible. But the problem that relies here is the fact that you can see how uncertain the market is to reacting to such high volume right now within XRP. The second it breached through this resistance, it shot all the way up and wicked all the way back down. So even though we retested 0.28, which is literally just a couple of hours ago, we corrected all the way back down to 0.26, which is a huge swing in the market and a huge risk for investors, which is something you guys have to consider if you wanted to, buy in long or sell in short. It really depends, because this is a much more aggressive style of trading. Now, to move on to the other cryptocurrencies before we dive into this video, you can see right here on Ethereum, there's more reasons why I believe the market might be headed down clearly than to the upside. You can clearly see where I'm referring to on Ethereum. We have this massive ascending triangle forming. Notice we double topped twice right now, where we hit resistance on the relative strength indicator, hit the overbought market, and we're now starting to reverse a little bit lower. It happened also over here. Every time we seem to hit this resistance, we pretty much skew all the way back down, scale the market a little bit lower. So honestly, even within Ethereum, it looks like we're probably going to drop ever so slightly. I can also tweak this up like that, extend this a little bit more, but hopefully you guys understand what it is that I'm referring to. With Ethereum now retesting this top resistance right here, ultimately sending its market to almost overbought territory on the relative strength indicators, things look like they want to correct downwards more than they do want to continue to pump higher. I do believe we need to fill in this gap before we see any big, major pump anyway. Now moving on to Bitcoin, another cryptocurrency, which is just extremely interesting. This is probably one of the hardest coins to craft in a long time, specifically because, we just keep pumping higher and higher and higher within Bitcoin. There seems to be some sort of uptrend right here that the coin seems to be following, but ultimately there's no like resistance at the top. We just keep heading higher and higher and higher, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. We did this back in 2017 where we continued to pump. But it seems like what's happening is when Bitcoin pumps higher, the markets retreat lower. So ultimately, there's some sort of inverse pattern forming here that the longer Bitcoin pumps higher, the lower, or it was the lower XRP was going. You can see down here. So Bitcoin started back in October 19th. For XRP, let's go back to October, which was right here. And you can see from October, we had just a correction downwards. Now we're starting to float back up higher, which is interesting. I guess as XRP as Bitcoin has slowly traded sideways, we seem to have pretty much consolidated a little bit more. It's very interesting. The markets are starting to become very, very, very hard and volatile to trade around with. Same thing goes with Litecoin. You can clearly see there's an uptrend here as well, which we can mark in, but ultimately we're hitting resistance here, which would be another signal of reversal, as this is very similar to Ethereum's chart, as it's double topped twice now. Same thing with Litecoin here. Ultimately, I think it's going to be just looking at XRP and honing in on XRP's charts for us to really get a general idea of what exactly is happening. It's becoming really difficult to trade around with too, and hopefully, I've been seeing this in other cryptocurrency traders as well. It's definitely a market where I'm starting to feel slightly uncomfortable getting ready to buy in just yet. Obviously, if there is any moment where we start to kind of unveil or re-see a sort of uptrend or downtrend or some sort of technical pattern that we can use to basically gauge where the next step is going, I'll obviously share that with you guys. But as a conservative trader, this isn't my main trading or main source of income. I wait for the proper times to make money. We've done this before. You can see we've used previous movements here where we've made some fairly profitable trades. So it's really just waiting for the perfect time to make up for the best trades. Granted, we had two great trades right here, an 85% gain, a 6% gain, but they both had fairly big profits. So it's really just waiting for that right moment where we can finally buy into the market. So it's really just, play around with the market, play around with trading, just get used to trading with BitYard. Once you understand exactly how buying long, sell and selling short works, leverage trading markets, things like that, maybe creating stop losses, then you're ready to actually start trading in the live or with real money. So otherwise, moving on, you can see for the most part, this is where things get tough. Bringing up XRP here. The fact that we're seeing such uncertainty within the top of XRP is becoming fairly difficult to trade around with. Are we going to reverse lower? Are we going to break up higher? It's merely, hit or miss at the moment. Otherwise, I do believe, this is pretty much just, I'm just going to leave it alone for right now. It's becoming extremely difficult to trend with, especially breaking outside of this resistance. I'm going to do a bit more research. Obviously, if you guys have any other charts, definitely make sure to send it to me at my email, CryptoTV or CryptoTVofficial@gmail.com. DM it to me on Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is, just so I can get a better understanding of where you guys might see the market heading. Obviously, sharing any of this information will be beneficial to all of us. It will also be a great way to shout you guys out on the channel. And then lastly, to wrap up today's video, basically looking at the S&P 500, as today is Saturday, markets have closed. You can see it's a very interesting trade. This is something we're able to trade around with much easier, as you can start to see. We do have a ton of uncertainty here, as we're starting to see, a shooting star doji pattern form where the bulls and the bears are fighting each other. There's a good chance we might close or open on Monday, reversing downwards and correcting lower. That's something that could influence the markets and ultimately pull the markets downwards, and we could see a bearish drop. We could very well see a bearish drop. We could easily see a correction to the downside. I'm pretty much waiting on it. I'm gambling that Litecoin and these other cryptocurrencies, being that they're very far away from their moving averages here, could reverse down to retest support. Same thing with Bitcoin, retesting bottom support, things like that. Right here, retesting bottom support, that moving average. The only thing I forgot to mention on XRP was on the weekly charts here. If we do manage to continue to break above this resistance, you can see the symmetrical triangle, there's a very big chance it's going to leap up all the way to 29 cents. That's what I forgot to mention. If we can continue to close this week's candle above this resistance, we may actually have a surprise where we head up and start retesting this area of moving averages, which will be incredible. Otherwise, guys, that's pretty much going to wrap up today's video. If you are new to the channel, definitely make sure to subscribe, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up. I'm sorry if my voice sounds a little bit weird. I'm starting to feel a little iffy, maybe a little under the weather, but it's really nothing. Otherwise, make sure to subscribe. Like I said, turn on post notifications, leave a giant thumbs up, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Peace.